Gentlemen, let's face a question that many men over 50 quietly carry but rarely speak aloud. What really happens to your prostate if you masturbate every single day? For decades, this topic has been wrapped in silence, embarrassment, and myths. Some believe that frequent ejaculation weakens the body. Others think it's harmless. And still others wonder if it might actually protect the prostate. The truth, backed by science, is far more interesting and more important than most men realize. The prostate is often called the silent gland. For much of a man's younger years, it does its job in the background, producing fluid that supports sperm health and fertility. But after 40, this walnut-sized gland begins to demand attention. That's when many men first notice waking up several times at night to urinate, struggling with a weaker stream, or feeling that their bladder is never fully empty. Too often, these signs are brushed off as just aging. Yet, in reality, they are signals from a gland under stress. Here's the problem. Stigma keeps men from asking questions. I've met countless patients who endured years of discomfort simply because they were embarrassed to bring up their symptoms with a doctor. They feared judgment, or they assumed nothing could be done. But ignoring these issues never makes them go away. It only allows them to grow worse. And when it comes to prostate health, early awareness is the most powerful weapon you have. That's why we need to break the taboo and talk openly. Science today gives us a clearer picture than ever before of how lifestyle choices, including masturbation frequency, impact the prostate. Daily ejaculation is not just about pleasure. It may play a real role in maintaining prostate health. In fact, large-scale studies have shown a link between frequent ejaculation and lower risks of prostate cancer. But before you jump to conclusions, it's critical to understand the full picture. Masturbation is one piece of a larger puzzle that includes diet, exercise, hormones, and routine medical care. Think of your prostate as a filter. Just like pipes in a house, if fluid sits too long, it stagnates. Over time, that stagnation can lead to inflammation or buildup of harmful byproducts. Ejaculation acts like turning on the tap. It helps flush out old fluid, reduces congestion, and refreshes the gland. But here's the key. This doesn't mean more is always better, and it doesn't mean you can ignore the other factors that influence your prostate's long-term health. In this series, I, Dr. Strong, will guide you through the science, the myths, and the practical steps every man over 50 should know. We'll look at how the prostate changes after 40, why ejaculation may be protective, and what additional strategies you must adopt to safeguard your health. By the end, you'll have a clear action plan you can start applying today, because your prostate health is not just about urination, it's about preserving energy, confidence, and quality of life well into your later years. Before we can fully understand how daily ejaculation affects the prostate, we first need to know exactly what this gland is and why it matters so much after the age of 40. Gentlemen, your prostate may be small, about the size of a walnut, but it holds an outsized influence on your urinary health, sexual function, and overall well-being. The prostate sits just beneath the bladder, wrapping around the urethra like a ring around a tube. Its main job is to produce the fluid that nourishes and protects sperm. This fluid mixes with sperm cells from the testes and secretions from other glands to form semen. Without the prostate, natural reproduction would be impossible. But its importance doesn't end there. Because of its unique location, when the prostate begins to grow or become inflamed, it directly impacts urination. That's why so many prostate problems reveal themselves first in the bathroom. Now, here's the part that men over 50 need to take seriously. The prostate almost always changes with age. From about 40 onward, the gland is influenced by a shift in hormones. Testosterone levels gradually fall, but a more potent form of testosterone called dihydrotestosterone, DHT, often builds up inside the prostate. This triggers cell growth and causes the gland to enlarge. Doctors call this benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH. It is not cancer, but it can be just as disruptive to your quality of life. Think of it like this. The prostate is a valve around a hose. When the valve swells, the flow of water slows down. That's why men with enlarged prostates struggle with starting urination, feel a weak stream, or wake up multiple times at night. Over time, the bladder itself becomes strained, leading to constant urgency and even risk of infections. I often hear men shrug these problems off, saying, "It's just age, doc." But what they don't realize is that ignoring these changes can lead to chronic inflammation, higher cancer risk, and a daily loss of comfort and confidence. Here's another point many overlook. The prostate is highly sensitive to lifestyle choices. What you eat, how active you are, your weight, your stress levels, and yes, even how often you ejaculate can all influence how quickly the gland enlarges and how severe your symptoms become. In fact, modern research shows that daily lifestyle habits often matter more than genetics when it comes to prostate health after 50. So, as we explore the effects of frequent ejaculation, remember this: it's not about one single factor magically solving everything. It's about how that factor interacts with the biology of aging. Masturbation, by helping to flush out the gland, may play a supportive role. But to truly protect your prostate, you need to see it as part of a broader system, one where diet, exercise, hormone balance, and regular medical care all work together. Gentlemen, the prostate may be hidden, but after 50, it will shape your nights, your confidence, and your intimacy. The more you understand how it works, the more control you have over the years ahead. And now, let's dive into the science of ejaculation frequency, the research that surprised even seasoned doctors and changed how we think about prostate protection. Gentlemen, now let's get into the science, the part that often surprises men the most. The question is simple: does frequent ejaculation, whether through masturbation or with a partner, help or harm the prostate? The answer, according to some of the most respected studies in the world, is encouraging. A landmark study published in the journal European Urology followed more than 30,000 men over nearly 2 decades. What the researchers found was striking. Men who ejaculated 21 or more times per month had a 33% lower risk of developing prostate cancer compared to men who ejaculated only 4 to 7 times per month. That's not a small difference. It's a powerful sign that what many men consider a private, even embarrassing habit may in fact be a protective factor for their health. Why would this be the case? The leading theory is something called the prostate flushing hypothesis. Think of the prostate as a reservoir that produces fluid every single day. If that fluid sits in the gland for too long, toxins, old cells, and potentially harmful carcinogens can accumulate. Over months and years, that buildup can trigger inflammation, cellular damage, and abnormal growth. But each ejaculation works like turning on the faucet. It flushes the system, expelling old fluid and allowing new, healthy fluid to replace it. In other words, regular ejaculation may help keep the prostate cleaner, healthier, and less prone to dangerous changes. But let's be clear, this does not mean ejaculation is a magic shield. I often tell my patients, one healthy habit can never cover for the rest. You cannot eat poorly, remain sedentary, skip your checkups, and expect masturbation alone to save your prostate. Instead, think of it as one part of a complete maintenance program. Just as exercise keeps the heart strong and a good diet protects the arteries, ejaculation supports prostate circulation and detoxification. There are also other benefits science has observed. Regular ejaculation may lower stress by releasing oxytocin and endorphins, hormones that calm the nervous system. It may improve sleep, and some evidence suggests it supports better immune function. Taken together, these effects indirectly support prostate health because stress and inflammation are known enemies of the gland. Still, frequency matters. Once a day, for most healthy men, is generally safe and can even be beneficial. But excessive or compulsive behavior several times daily, to the point of exhaustion, may have the opposite effect, leading to pelvic pain, nerve strain, or hormonal imbalances. Balance, as always, is the key. So here's the takeaway. Yes, frequent ejaculation can be a protective ally for your prostate, especially after 50. But it must be understood in context as part of an overall lifestyle that includes proper diet, exercise, hydration, and regular checkups. In the next section, we'll talk about the 3 major changes your prostate goes through after 40 and why understanding them is critical if you want to protect yourself in the years ahead. Gentlemen, by the time you reach your 42nd and 52nd, your prostate begins a journey of change that is as predictable as it is disruptive. Understanding these changes is the key to understanding why habits like frequent ejaculation, diet, and regular medical care matter so much. Let's walk through the 3 big shifts that every man over 40 needs to know about. The first is enlargement and fluid retention. Doctors call this benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH. It isn't cancer, but it can feel just as life-altering. As the gland naturally grows, it presses against the urethra, making urination more difficult. You may notice a weak stream, difficulty starting, or the frustrating sense that your bladder is never fully empty. Imagine a garden hose being squeezed in the middle. The flow slows down and pressure builds. Beyond inconvenience, this retention can create chronic irritation and inflammation, both of which increase long-term risk for more serious conditions. I've seen men lose sleep for years because of these symptoms, and often they think it's just normal aging. It's not. It's your prostate asking for attention. The second change is hormonal imbalance. Testosterone, the hormone that fuels energy, libido, and muscle, naturally declines with age. At the same time, some of the remaining testosterone is converted into a more potent hormone called dihydrotestosterone, or DHT. While useful in small amounts, high DHT acts like fertilizer on the prostate, pushing cells to multiply and the gland to enlarge further. This imbalance doesn't just affect your urination, it also impacts your confidence, intimacy, and overall vitality. Many men don't realize that fatigue, mood swings, and low desire often trace back to this shifting hormone landscape. The third change is cellular abnormalities. Over decades, your body replaces old cells with new ones billions of times. Each time, there's a small chance of error. Combine that with chronic inflammation and hormonal imbalance, and the likelihood of abnormal cells forming increases. This is one of the reasons prostate cancer risk climbs with age. To put numbers on it, according to the American Cancer Society, about 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer during their lifetime, most commonly after the age of 65. That's why screening isn't optional, it's a lifeline. When you put these three changes together, BPH, hormone shifts, and abnormal cell risk, you see why the prostate becomes such a powerful force in men's lives after 40. The good news is that you are not powerless. Every healthy habit, from diet to exercise to regular ejaculation, helps push back against these forces. But here's where it gets interesting. Beyond these well-documented changes, researchers in Japan have proposed a controversial new explanation, something they call the hidden prostate clog. In the next section, we'll explore what this theory says, why it sparked so much debate, and whether it could point to new solutions for millions of men worldwide. Gentlemen, now let's look at something more controversial, an idea that has gained attention in recent years, particularly from researchers in Japan. While mainstream science recognizes enlargement, hormones, and cellular changes as the main culprits of prostate problems, these scientists point to a different hidden mechanism they call the prostate clog. What exactly does that mean? Imagine your prostate as a small reservoir that is supposed to flush fluid regularly. Over decades, with aging, inflammation, and lifestyle factors, some scientists believe the gland can accumulate hardened deposits, tiny balls of old cells, toxins, and proteins that stick together. This buildup, they argue, slows circulation within the gland, creating pockets of congestion. Think of it like a pipe with scale forming on the inside. Flow is reduced, pressure builds, and the surrounding tissue becomes irritated. According to these Japanese studies, this clog doesn't just cause discomfort. It may also press on the urethra, worsening urinary symptoms, and even fuel chronic inflammation that accelerates prostate enlargement. Some researchers describe it as a hidden trigger that has gone unnoticed for decades because it's difficult to detect with standard exams. While this theory hasn't yet been fully adopted by the broader medical community, it has sparked interest because it offers a fresh way to explain why so many men continue to struggle, even when they follow traditional advice. What makes the story even more intriguing is their proposed solution. These scientists suggest that a natural compound found in certain mineral-rich spring waters may help dissolve the deposits. In early pilot trials, men reported improved urine flow and reduced urgency within weeks. Now, I must stress, these findings are still preliminary. Larger, long-term clinical trials are needed before doctors can confidently recommend such treatments. But for men desperate for relief, it represents hope that new answers may be on the horizon. In my own practice, I've seen how innovation often begins at the edges, an idea that challenges conventional wisdom and forces us to look deeper. Even if the prostate clog turns out not to be the whole story, it highlights something vital. The prostate is not just passively enlarging, it is responding to every aspect of your lifestyle, circulation, and metabolic health. So, what should you take from this? Stay curious, stay informed, and don't ignore new research. At the same time, don't pin all your hopes on a single miracle cure. The fundamentals still matter most: annual checkups, a healthy diet, exercise, and smart hydration. In the next section, we'll break down those fundamentals into what I call the 4 pillars of prostate health, the foundation every man over 50 must put in place if he wants to stay strong, confident, and in control for years to come. Gentlemen, now that we've explored the theories and the risks, it's time to focus on the foundation, what I call the 4 pillars of prostate health. These are not gimmicks or fads. They are science-backed strategies that I give to every man who walks into my clinic over the age of 50. If you adopt them consistently, they can change not just your prostate, but your entire quality of life. Pillar 1, annual checkup. This is non-negotiable. Once you reach 50 or earlier, if you have a family history, you need to see a urologist every year. That visit should include 2 essentials: the PSA blood test and the digital rectal exam. I know the second one is feared, joked about, and avoided. But let me remind you, it takes 15 seconds and can save your life. Prostate cancer, when caught early, has a survival rate above 98%. When caught late, those odds drop sharply. Don't gamble with your future. Pillar 2, an anti-inflammatory diet. What you eat every day is either calming your prostate or inflaming it. Foods like red meat, fried snacks, processed sugar, and excess dairy stoke inflammation. In contrast, vegetables, fruits, nuts, olive oil, and fatty fish reduce it. One of the most powerful allies you have is the tomato, which contains lycopene, an antioxidant proven to lower prostate cancer risk. Cooked tomatoes are even better because the lycopene becomes more bioavailable. Add tomato sauce, paste, or roasted tomatoes to your meals, and your prostate will thank you. Pillar 3, consistent physical activity. You don't need to be an athlete. 30 minutes of brisk walking most days is enough to improve circulation, regulate hormones, and keep weight under control. Strength training twice a week helps preserve testosterone, while pelvic floor exercises like Kegels support bladder control and reduce urgency. Movement is medicine. Without it, the prostate becomes another victim of sedentary living. Pillar 4, hydration. It sounds simple, but water is one of your most powerful tools. Staying hydrated dilutes urine, protects the bladder lining, and helps flush the prostate. Aim for 2 to 3 liters spread evenly throughout the day. The key is timing. Drink more in the morning and afternoon, less in the evening, so you're not waking up 3 times a night. Studies show that proper hydration alone can reduce nighttime urination by over 40%. That means better sleep, better recovery, and better energy during the day. When you combine these 4 pillars, checkups, diet, activity, and hydration, you create a shield around your prostate. They won't just reduce symptoms, they'll reduce inflammation, balance hormones, and lower your cancer risk. And when you add the supportive role of regular ejaculation, you give your gland the full package of protection it needs. But there's still one specific dietary weapon I want to highlight because it is both simple and powerful: the tomato. In the next section, we'll dive deeper into how this everyday food, rich in lycopene, may be your prostate's best friend after 50. Gentlemen, among all the foods that can protect your prostate, one stands out as a quiet but powerful ally: the humble tomato. You've probably eaten it countless times in salads, sauces, or soups without realizing just how vital it can be for your long-term health. And the secret behind this red fruit lies in a compound called lycopene. Lycopene is a natural antioxidant that gives tomatoes their vibrant color. But more importantly, it has been shown in numerous studies to have a profound protective effect on the prostate. Research from the Journal of the National Cancer Institute and multiple large meta-analyses confirm that men with higher lycopene intake have a significantly lower risk of developing prostate cancer. How does it work? Think of lycopene as a shield that neutralizes free radicals, tiny unstable molecules that damage cells and fuel chronic inflammation. By reducing oxidative stress, lycopene protects the delicate tissue of the prostate from DNA damage and abnormal cell growth. Here's something many men don't know: cooked tomatoes are even better than raw ones. When tomatoes are cooked, whether in sauce, paste, or even ketchup, the lycopene becomes more bioavailable, meaning your body absorbs it more easily. This makes your evening pasta sauce or bowl of tomato soup not just comforting, but medicinal. I often tell patients, if you want an easy step to protect your prostate, start by adding tomato-based meals to your weekly routine. And tomatoes don't work alone. Pairing them with healthy fats like olive oil or avocado boosts lycopene absorption even further. Imagine a Mediterranean-style meal, grilled vegetables drizzled with olive oil and a side of tomato sauce. It's not just delicious, it's medicine on your plate. Beyond cancer prevention, lycopene also helps men with benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH. Studies suggest it reduces inflammation inside the gland, helping to shrink swelling and improve urinary flow. Some patients who added tomato-based foods consistently reported fewer nighttime trips to the bathroom and stronger energy during the day. Let me share a quick story. A patient of mine, Richard, age 67, had been struggling with urgency and interrupted sleep for years. He resisted medication, preferring natural options. I advised him to make a few changes, including walking daily and adding cooked tomatoes several times a week. Within 3 months, Richard told me he was waking up only once at night instead of 4 times. His wife joked that he had become a new man with more patience and energy. This isn't magic, it's the power of consistent nutrition. So, gentlemen, never underestimate the impact of a single food. Tomatoes and lycopene are not a cure-all, but they are one of the most proven, accessible, and affordable tools you can use to defend your prostate. If you're over 50, adding them to your diet is not optional, it's essential. In the next and final section, I'll bring everything together and share my closing advice. How to balance lifestyle, habits, and even masturbation frequency to protect your prostate, preserve your manhood, and live with confidence well into your later years. Gentlemen, we've covered a lot together, from the biology of the prostate, to the science of ejaculation frequency, to diet, exercise, hydration, and even the hidden power of tomatoes. Now let me give you my final advice. As Dr. Strong, to every man over 50 who wants to protect his prostate and his independence. First, understand this. Masturbation or frequent ejaculation is not harmful. In fact, science suggests it can be protective by helping flush out toxins and old cells from the prostate. But it is not a magic bullet. You cannot rely on one habit alone and expect your prostate to stay healthy. It must be part of a bigger picture, a lifestyle that supports circulation, balances hormones, and reduces inflammation. Second, recognize that the prostate is a silent gland that speaks through subtle symptoms. Waking up multiple times at night, feeling your stream weaken, or sensing incomplete emptying. These are not just inconveniences. They are early warning signs. Do not ignore them. Proactive screening, especially annual PSA blood tests and a digital rectal exam, can literally save your life. Remember, prostate cancer caught early is highly treatable, but delayed detection can cost you everything. Third, fuel your body wisely. An anti-inflammatory diet rich in vegetables, fruits, nuts, olive oil, and fish will protect your prostate far more than any supplements sold online. Tomatoes and other lycopene-rich foods should become staples in your meals. Stay hydrated, but smartly drink more during the day and less at night. Add exercise, even just a brisk walk daily, and watch how your energy, mood, and urinary health improve. Fourth, respect balance. Yes, regular ejaculation supports prostate health, but too much when it becomes compulsive or leaves you drained works against you. Like everything else, moderation is the key. Listen to your body. If you feel energized afterward, you're on the right track. If you feel exhausted, take a step back. Finally, remember this truth. Age is not the end of vitality. I have seen men in their 72nd and 82nd regain control of their nights, rebuild intimacy with their partners, and restore confidence simply by making small, consistent changes. You are not powerless, and it is never too late. Gentlemen, your prostate health is not just about avoiding the bathroom at night. It is about preserving your energy, your manhood, and your freedom to live fully. Don't let embarrassment or old myths keep you silent. Talk about it, take action, and protect yourself. So here is my final call to you. Start today. Make your next meal prostate-friendly. Commit to movement. Schedule that annual checkup. And yes, Allow yourself the healthy outlet of regular ejaculation as part of a balanced lifestyle. Your future health, your independence, and your confidence depend on it. This is Dr. Strong reminding you you are not defined by age, but by the choices you make. Choose wisely, live boldly, and protect your prostate for the years ahead.